My client got 173K all at 0% interest in business funding for his company. So today, I'm going to let you steal his funding strategy. I'm going to go through and show you exactly which banks that we went to, how much funding we got from those banks, and all the relevant data points that you need in order to get approved as well. And if you stick all the way into the end, I'm going to show you two banks that would allow you to get access to two different business credit cards all at the same time, which some would call double dipping. And if you don't know this, you are severely limiting the amount of funding that you can get access to. So, without any further ado, let's get it. So, if you like videos like this, breaking down exactly how to get business funding from the banks, make sure that you give me a like right now. Don't wait on it. Go ahead, hit that like button right now and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, let's begin. Some of the relevant data points before we go through and talk about which banks we went to and how much funding we got from them. Let's take a look at the client's personal credit profile. I will always tell you your personal profile matters so much because it will unlock six figures plus in business funding for your company to where you never have to worry about money again, or at least having a capital that you need to grow your business. And in this client's case, credit scores are really good. I hesitate to show sometimes with the clients that have the 800 plus credit scores because I know people are going to say, oh, with that credit score, yeah, anybody get funny with that credit score. And that's not the case. This client literally told me, now he had a denial with Bank of America more recently, and this client literally told me that he had went to numerous banks before working with me, and he kept getting denials, or he kept getting told that his business was too new because he only been in business 2 years, or at least his LLC is 2 years old. That's not too young, but it depends on which banks that you go to, right? So he was going to the wrong banks. He was getting denials. He was getting asked for a ton of documents. So even if you have an 800 plus credit score, still same thing. I mean, I have a client with a perfect credit score, literally an 850 out of 850. And he still came to me, so it doesn't really matter. You don't just magically unlock the ability to get the most amount of funding for your business, and you don't magically unlock connections that way. But sometimes I know some of y'all ain't gonna understand that, but it is what it is. So this client does have a great personal profile. The credit scores, 821, 18, 818, 825 respectively in on TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. And then oldest personal credit card all the way in 2001. This helped out the client a ton. If you have an old personal credit card, like we always say, don't close it because having that history will help out a lot. Now, a lot of times, a new wave of people are saying, hey, it doesn't matter if you close the oldest card because it still is going to show up on your personal credit reports, and that's true. But the credit bureaus only consider your open and active accounts in your credit history. So if this client was to close this oldest personal credit card, then it would not be counted towards their credit history. So that is really good. He had not been opening a ton of recent accounts, so that's also good too as well. And then you have credit limit, highest credit limit at 20K, perfect. So all these metrics right here, without knowing too much more, unless there's like a ton of derogatories or something. Well, no, at that score you wouldn't have a ton of derogatories, unless there's some type of late payment or something else going on. You're probably in good shape just with these three metrics right here, or four metrics, I guess. And no derogatories. Total accounts are looking good. Inquiries, those are actually inquiries. Some of them he sustained with actually going with some of the banks that we went with. So, but we help remove them later. But anyways, state is Washington D.C. And then also you have business age, like I said, and then recent denial. So I went over some of the more relevant data points. Now let's talk about his personal credit cards before we talk about the banks. Okay, now we see the client's personal credit cards. So you have some city cards. That is his highest credit limits here. Now, the thing with Citibank is they do not have the best business funding products. The business credit cards, they don't offer any 0%. It could be it could be an option for you, but there are better options. I would go for the other options first, honestly, before I would go for any Citibank business credit card. So couldn't really leverage that, but from the standpoint of having this high of a credit limit on a card, that definitely helped out a lot. You got Discover Bank, you got some Chase cards, And then you got a PNC Bank too as well, and then some store cards pretty much, or Amazon card, and then a store card. So total credit limits 106. That is phenomenal. When you have over 100K on the personal side, it's a lot easier to get over 100K on the business side. Do you have to have that? No. Look at a lot of my other videos in this series, and you'll see some of these clients had 15K, maybe even slightly less than that, like 12K, and they still got over 100K in funding. But it does help. Those clients that had, less than 50K or so, a lot of times they had other things going on that made it a lot easier for them to get funding. So, yes, you may not have 100K on the personal side in personal credit cards, but if you have other things going on, you still can make it work. Now, data points are this, like data points. Do you guys, if you play video games, which I personally have not played any video games in a very, very long time, but I grew up on video games. That used to be my thing before I really got started in business and everything. But I just personally don't want to waste any time right now. But trust me, I used to be a gamer. But if you've played like Madden games, if you played NCAA games, if you played 2K games, all those games, we all know, especially for the fellas out there, we know it's very popular, right? When you are like for players on the game, right? Like say a Steph Curry, his overall may be 99. His shooting is going to be 99 or 100, is going to be very high, but his dunking rate is not going to be nowhere near that high, right? Might be 80s or 85 or something. And some of his other attributes are going to be higher, some are going to be lower. That's how data points are. It's like attributes. Nobody has a perfect 99 all across the board, including my profile, because there's some things that I didn't know when I was first building my profile. So it's not like just perfect if I was just building from scratch, or if I had to just make a personal profile from scratch. I would do some things differently from the things that I have. But overall, it's solid. So that's how you have to view it. You may not have the most in credit history, but make up for that for having a high credit limit. You may not have the highest credit limit, but you can make up for that for having a credit history. All right. Or your overall credit limits may not be too high because you only got like 3 cards, but make one of those cards your highest or a high credit limit. So that way, when you bring that to the table, it's going to be more likely that you can get access to higher amounts of funding. Okay, so without any further ado, let's take a look at the banks that we went to. So, moment of transparency here, this client actually got denied for funding with Chase Bank. So you're looking at 173K with no Chase available at all. So I mean, really consider that. 173 is really nice for no Chase, because normally Chase is a big part of that, especially with this client having a personal credit card with Chase. But unfortunately, due to some, I mean, you guys don't know who the client is, so I'll just tell you. Basically, one thing you want to look out for is having an NSF or non sufficient funds for whatever reason. If you have an NSF on your any of your business checking accounts, especially with Chase, if you apply for funding with them, a lot of times you can be denied. So there's something to keep in mind there. So we did not get that approval. However, we went to U.S. Bank, Citizens Bank, Truist, and then American Express. So American Express was 25K, Truist was 50K, U.S. Bank was 48K, and Citizens was 50K. So how did we pull this off? What was the mindset there? Just keep in mind that um, again, the client has a good personal profile, right? So that helps out a ton. But the other thing is that we did something called double dipping. All right, I told you that would be one of the things that I would tell you about. So you have 2 cards here, like with Truist Bank. These are 2 different cards. We got up to 50K with 2 different cards. Well, 2 of their cards that offer 0% interest. So we did those one right after the other, and that's something that's possible with Truist Bank. Is every bank like that? No, but with Truist Bank, it's definitely possible, and also the same thing with U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank, you can go for one of the business credit cards, and then you can go for the other, so you can double dip. Now, for both of these, unfortunately, it was a separate increase. So, uh, for both applications, it is a separate increase. Sometimes they'll let you get away with one, but for the most part, universally you're going to see two inquiries, but it is good to know because I have so many clients that come in and they have one Chase card already. I'm like, who did you work with? You could have got two of them. Or in other banks, you only have one of the business credit cards, and I'm like, oh, we could have went and got both. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. That's how we were able to get such high of a limit just by leveraging only four banks. You'll see a lot of times that my clients get over six figures, so 100K plus in like less than five banks. And this is one of those examples here. So, um, yeah, we work with some business relationship managers for literally all of them here. Outside of American Express, I've told my story with American Express before. We actually have relationship managers with them, or at least one of them that I was working with, but we saw similar results, so I just didn't really worry about working with him. And actually took a little bit longer. It wasn't as convenient for my clients, but for the other three banks, we definitely went with business relationship managers. But be advised, with every one of these banks, I'm not saying if you apply, you're going to get 48K with US Bank. If you apply with Citizens, you're going to get 50K. Definitely not 50K with Truist. I'm not saying that, but it is possible. You need to know the threshold of these cards because that way you'll know like what type of limit that you got and what type of limit that you can go after for each bank, because every bank is not built the same. Every bank is not going to go up to 100K to 50K to 25K. Like a lot of these cards that you guys apply for, the highest limit you can get is 20K. The highest limit you can get is 25K. And if you get one of those, your maximum exposure is already done. You can't apply for a second one. So you need to know that information before you apply. But that's pretty much it. I wanted to get in and get out and really be real direct with the information here on this one. So if you want to go through and get over 170K in business funding, even up to 250K in business funding, just like my client here did, you can go ahead and hit the description box below and set up a call with me or my team. We'll discuss exactly where you are, your personal profile, your business structure, and exactly which banks we can go to and how much funding we can expect from those banks. So that way you can get funded too. And if you liked this video, I'm pretty sure you will like this video on the screen too as well.